So my home entertainment setup comprises of quite a few different devices. First up, I've got my TV, all right, over here. And yes, my TV is a smart TV, but it's a budget one, so the Android TV is pretty laggy and it sucks. So I have an NVIDIA Shield, which I swear by, which is another remote over here. And then I have a Telus box for some cable channels that I subscribe to, which is, yes, another remote. So I've got 3. And if I want to switch between one or the other and I can't find one of the remotes, it is an absolute pain. So universal remotes have been around for a very long time. And I think those who are very familiar with universal remotes probably know that one of the most reliable ones are from Logitech, the Harmony series. And there are quite a few and they're all really expensive. But I actually reviewed this one quite some time back from a company called Sofabaton, the U2 specifically, an absolute great remote. But then they sent over another one. So this one is the Sofabaton X1S. Now this costs quite a fair bit more than the U2, but this actually covers a bit of a shortfall that the U2 can't address. We'll talk about that a bit later on, but honestly, even though this costs quite a fair bit more than the U2, this is my absolute favorite remote. Now, first up, unboxing, you get the remote, obviously, and you don't get any batteries. The U2 actually does come with batteries, and you have to put your batteries in here. If you're wondering why it doesn't give you any batteries, it's because the battery is actually built in. So yes, this one charges via USB-C, and I absolutely love that. Now you also get a hub, which the U2 does not need, and I'll speak a little bit later on why this one needs a hub. But yes, you do get a hub. You also get a couple of sort of IR extenders. And if you're wondering why it needs extenders, so when I talk about, a shortfall that the U2 had that this one addresses, now the U2 is a lot cheaper and it doesn't have a hub, but that's because everything is sort of built in. You have your IR blaster or transmitter over here, and it's sort of an all-encompassing remote. You don't need anything else. With the X1S, you do get a hub, but the great thing about it is that, some people like to keep their whatever boxes, media boxes or NVIDIA Shield, like for me, and they would like to keep it, inside a cupboard closed, for aesthetic purposes, obviously. So with the U2, even though it's a fair bit cheaper and you just need the remote, you don't need anything else, if you keep your boxes in a cupboard closed, yeah, this is not going to reach that device and you're probably not going to be able to control anything. But with that hub, you can actually place it on your TV showcase or whatever you call it over there, and then anything else that's in a cupboard, you actually can use one of those IR extenders, run that wire inside, and this is actually not an IR remote, this is a Bluetooth remote. So this connects to the hub via Bluetooth, and then that hub and those IR extensions are the ones that transmit the IR commands and receive them. So yeah, that's absolutely fantastic. And actually not just for stuff that's being blocked in a cupboard. So in my TV, I also have the Sonos soundbar, and that actually covers the front of the TV, which is where the IR receiver is on that TV. So with my regular TV remote, I kind of have to, point that way to reach it because my soundbar's in the way. So what I do actually is I put that hub right in between the soundbar and the TV, and that takes care of my TV remote commands. Absolutely fantastic. And then I run the cable right down below just to get towards my Telus box and my NVIDIA Shield. Another reason why I like the X1S is, well, its form factor. As you can see, it is a fair bit thinner than the U2. The U2 is quite a bulky boy, and a big part of the size is really because you have to put batteries in there. But because this has a built-in battery, it fits so much nicer in your hand. You also have a much nicer screen. This is an OLED screen, a 2-inch OLED screen for you to scroll through. And yes, I had to program all my remotes, which does take a bit of time, but the app is pretty straightforward. I did have one glitch, and I'll talk about that in a bit. It has a roller here to help you choose between your devices, but not only that, you can sort of choose presets where you can have one preset which they call activities, and then from there you can do a range of commands, which I really like. So the issue I had, which actually I realized wasn't exactly Sofabaton's fault, so I managed to store my TCL TV, the NVIDIA Shield, I got that programmed on the remote, super easy. And then my Telus remote. So to be fair, the Telus box that I have is relatively new, all right? I think it only came out, or Telus started offering it this year. So I do not blame Sofabaton for not having it in their system. The great thing is it actually has some of the previous generations, which I thought was impressive. But yeah, it didn't have the one that I had specifically. So I'm like, no issue, you know, it supports custom remotes, and yes, you can build your own remote if the product that you have is not in their database. So I thought, easy peasy, and I've done that before with the U2, and it worked fine. So I tried, you know, and what you do is you create the remote, give the command, and instead of like with the old U2, you sort of point them together to get the command, you have to point this directly facing down on the hub, which is what I did. And it didn't receive anything. So I'm like, what's going on? Something's wrong. I thought maybe there was an issue with the hub. So I sent an email to Sofabaton, still didn't work. And then I realized something like, hey, what if maybe it's a Bluetooth remote, you know? Even though the Telus remote does have this part here, which still looks like an IR transmitter or blaster to me. I'm still sure, I'm very, very sure it is. But yeah, I thought maybe, oh, okay, it's a Bluetooth remote. So I tried, instead of creating a custom IR remote, I went into adding a Bluetooth remote, and yes, it worked perfectly fine. So it is a Bluetooth remote. So if you're in a similar situation, you're trying to create a custom remote, maybe because one of your devices is not supported or is not in their code base, try adding it via IR remote. But if an IR command, it doesn't read anything, chances are it's a Bluetooth remote. So maybe try that. So far, I haven't had any issues. On the website, it says that, you know, it goes up to 45 days, but I think I've had it for more than 60 and I've only charged it once. So I guess it depends on your use case. You know, I maybe not use it as much as the regular person. Maybe some people might use it more, so the battery life obviously will be shorter. But for me, after more than 60 days, I've only charged it once. So yeah, it lasts a really, really long time. Okay, so let's talk about the price. So you can get this on Amazon or on Sofabaton's own website for about $189 US. Now, if you saw my other review of the Sofabaton U2, you realize that that is way, way cheaper, like almost 3 times cheaper. I think it was about $60 US. This is $189. I can sort of understand because, you know, it comes with a hub. This is not an IR remote. It is a Bluetooth or a Wi-Fi remote, I think. You know, so maybe it costs more, and you've got the IR extenders all included in the package. But again, it solves a very specific purpose. You know, if you like keeping everything really neat and you like to hide your devices, you know, and a normal remote like the U2 is not going to get to it, this is actually the perfect option for you within that price range. Like I said, the Logitech Harmonies are way more expensive, you know, and I've been using it for quite a long time. Build quality is fantastic. I really love this remote. It is quite a pretty penny to pay, but you know, after 2 months of using it, making my whole life so much easier, I would say it's well worth the money. All right, so that about wraps up my review of the Sofabaton X1S. Now, if you like this video, you know what to do, and I would love it if you would subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon to receive notifications on our next video. I'm JP, and I'll see you real soon.